Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today, inshallah, we are going to complete our talk about the production theory. In the last class, we said that, or we studied the total production of labor, average production of labor, and the marginal production of labor. And we had an example. And we said that the marginal production of labor, MPL, equals the change in total production over the change of number of workers. So, or the change in the quantity produced over the change in number of workers. And the average production of labor, APL, equals total production of labor over the number of workers, or the quantity produced over L. Right? And we had the following graph, which has been derived from the data, the previous data, the last schedule. Here is the total production of labor, and here is the marginal production of labor. MPL, here's the zero, the horizontal axis. In the horizontal axis, we have the number of workers here. And here on the vertical axis, we have the total production of labor, APL and MPL. All right. Also, we have the average production of labor, which has or increases and then goes down. Average production of labor. We had three stages as well. It's quite similar to the marginal utility theory when we studied the relationship between the total utility and marginal utility. Here we have the first stage. The first stage, the second, and the third stage here. Do you remember the data? الداتا اللي اخذناها في التيبل the last table ولا في ضرورة نرجع نكتبها تاني التيبل؟ Is there a need to write the last table? Okay. So, in the first stage here, let's study the relationship between the total production of labor and the marginal production of labor. So, let's analyze the graph here. Number one. We are gonna study the relationship between the total production of labor and the marginal production of labor. In the first stage here, as the total production of labor is increasing at an increasing rate, the total production of labor is increasing at an increasing rate. What do I see? The marginal production of labor is increasing. MPL is increasing and positive. So, here, number one, when the total production of labor is increasing at an increasing rate, the marginal production of labor is increasing and positive. In the second stage, here from A to B, to C, and then to D. From B to C, the total production of labor is increasing, but by or in a decreasing rate. هيو طالع بس سرعة الطلوع أقل من اللي قبله. صح؟ So, In the second stage, here in the first stage, from A to B, when the total production of labor is increasing at an increasing rate, the marginal production of labor is increasing and positive. In the second stage, from B to C, what do you see? The total production of labor is increasing at a decreasing rate. What I see? The marginal production of labor is decreasing, but still positive. Right? So, the second stage, from B to C, the total production of labor is increasing at a decreasing rate. This is total production of labor. What I see? The marginal production of labor is decreasing, but still positive. So, the total production of labor is increasing at a decreasing rate. Hence, the marginal production of labor is decreasing. MPL is decreasing, but still positive. Sorry? MPL increasing at a decreasing rate. هو طالع بس سرعة الطلوع أقل من الفترة اللي قبلها. Okay? It's quite similar to the marginal utility and total utility. All right? تمام. Here, when the total production labor reached the peak, at the peak of total production labor, the marginal production labor reached to the zero here. At the worker number قديش؟ رجعت للهاي. Marginal production labor or total production labor reached the peak when? And MPL equals 0. Where is it? At the worker number 8. هذا في last class. Then هيك when number 3 when TPL reached the peak or is maximized, MPL equals 0. When the last stage here, from C to D, when the total production is decreasing, MPL decreasing and negative. So, number 4, when TPL is decreasing, MPL is decreasing and negative. Now, we have, it's quite similar to the relationship between the marginal utility and total utility. So the students who understood the last chapter or the chapter before, chapter 4, will understand the chapter 5 easily without any problems, right? Now, let's study the relationship between average production of labor and MPL. What do you see? Oh, sorry, APL and MPL. This is the average production of labor, APL, and MPL. Where is the cross between APL and MPL? At the highest value of APL, at the peak of APL. تمام? So, APL crosses the marginal production of labor at the peak or the highest value of APL. صح? So, APL 5, APL equals MPL. طلعوا لي في التيبل اللي عندكم. MPL at the highest value of APL بيساوي بعض. طلعوا لي في الجدول اللي عندكم اللي عملناه. When MPL equals APL عند 60 في الجدول اللي أخذناه قبل هيك. مظبوط؟ APL equals MPL at Q equals at labor number قديش؟ 3. Okay. So APL crosses MPL or equals MPL at the highest value of which APL. طلعوا لي هل هذا الرقم هو أعلى رقم لل APL؟ مظبوط. تمام؟ What else? APL is decreasing, but it still positive and never reach to negative. Maybe لا it never reach to zero كمان. لا to negative because APL إذا هنا هيك APL never reach never becomes negative, reach to or negative يعني less than, never become less than ممكن when the total production of labor becomes zero APL will be zero. صح؟ المصنع سكر مظبوط. هلا هيك إذا هنا APL never reach the negative or never becomes less than zero. في بعض الكتب بيقول لك never reach to zero. تمام؟ هلا APL هيو بيضل ينزل. APL هو ايش equals what? How much? APL equals total production labor over L. وقت ايش هذا بصير صفر؟ if the total إذا إنتاج جبنا كل العمال وشغلناهم وما طلعوش ولا حاجة. صح؟ بمعنى إذا if the total production إذا ال Q هذا Q over L if the total output equals zero in this case average production labor will be zero. صح؟ تمام. then هنا هيك APL will be equal zero when or if or when TPL equals zero. تمام؟ طيب let's go to something else. فاهمين هذا هيك؟ تمام. So sometimes we can ask you study or explain the relationship between total production labor APL and MPL using graph. بدك تشتغلي. تمام؟ Okay. Let's go to something else. We have the following data. L, TPL, APL, and MPL. From 0 to 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, TPL 0, 75 to 380. APL 100, 75, MPL 100, 100, 50. That's it. Complete the table. Oh my God. Let's complete the table here. Average production labor, or APL, equals total production labor over L. APL 0, because when total production labor equals 0, APL equals 0. هذا نحطه هيك 75 over 1, 75. Here, 75 minus 0 over 1 minus 0, 75. صح? Here, APL is given. And there is given, or given data. We have to use the given data to complete the table. Here, average production labor equals 100. 100 over 250. Sorry, multiplied, yes, but because here APL times L equals total production labor. So here should be 200. مظبوط؟ Hayo, MPL equals change in total production labor over change in L. مظبوط؟ تمام. هيو هيك 75 minus 0 over 1 minus 0. صح؟ What else? Here, total production labor over L, how much is it? 380 over 4, how much is it? How much is the average production labor here? هذا يقسمها على السريع. Sorry? 95. Okay. What else? We can benefit from this point here. Multiplied by 75 times 6. How much is it? What else? What else? Here. 200 minus 75 over 2 minus 1 will give us the marginal production labor here. صح؟ ركزوا شوي. هيو هذا هيك 200 minus 75 over 2 minus 1 will give us the marginal production labor here. 125. طيب شو ناقص 100؟ سوري شو ناقص 200 over 3 minus 2 راح يعطينا 100. صح؟ إذن هذا هيك 300. صح؟ طيب 300 over L 100. صح؟ خلصنا. What else here? هذا given هيك. هلقيت 380 minus 300 over 4 minus 380. صح؟ مظبوط؟ طب ايش ناقص هذا بيعطيني 50 وين رحنا؟ 50. 430. صح؟ Minus 380 over 5 minus 4 will give us 50. 430 minus will give us 50. Here, TPL over 5. How much? 86. What else here? 450 minus 430 over هذا minus 720. Draw the graph and explain the relationship between total production labor, marginal, and here. تمام؟ هاي سؤال. طيب, let's go to something else. In chapter 4, we studied the indifference curve theory. And we said that the consumer equilibrium occurs when the indifference curve tanges the budget line. Here we were talking about the consumer. The rational consumer should consume at the point at which the indifference curve tanges the budget line. Right? For the consumer, the producer has an indifference curve and a budget line. But we will call it here the iso coastline, iso means equal, coastline and isoquant curve. But before that, let's go to understand the analysis of rational, the producer behavior, right? So let's go to the producer behavior. How can the producer maximizes his production under the limited cost or the limited budget, all right? So let's go to the producer behavior. But before that, let's go to the producer indifference curve or isoquant curve, right? So let us assume that we have, we are talking about a producer, and this producer has different options to produce different bundles of goods. The bundle or a group A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E. Quantity produced equals 1,000 units. Labor and machine. One, three, 5, 7, 9, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. In this example, we are talking about a producer. This producer can use different bundles of factors of production, labor and machines. And he tends to produce 1,000 units. To produce 1,000 chairs, he can use one worker and 16 machines, 16 machines, or 3 workers and 8 machines, or 5 and 4, 7, 2, 9 and 1. So these different bundles, these different groups of factors of production will give the producer the same outputs. All right? Which means it's quite similar to the consumer behavior when he consumed different bundles of goods, which give him the same total utility. Here we're talking about a producer that can use different bundles, different groups of factors of production, labor and machines to produce the same output, the same quantities. All right? So, what do you see here? When he uses one worker and 16 machines, he can produce 1,000, adding more 2 units, 2 workers. The giving up is how much? 8 machines. All right? Adding more 2 workers, the giving up is 4. Adding more 2, giving up is 2. 2, 1. Here we have the marginal rate of substitution. It's called the marginal rate of technical substitution, which is quite similar to the marginal rate of substitution. The marginal rate of substitution for the consumer was change in the quantity of y over change in the quantity of x, right? Here we are, for the producer, we have the same term, which is the marginal rate of technical substitution. For the consumer, or equals a change in the quantity of machines over change in the quantity of the workers, L. Which means for the consumer, Y is the machinery here for the producer, and X is the number of workers here. All right? تمام? So to calculate the marginal rate of technical substitution, MRTS, for the first case, which equals 8 minus 16 over 3 minus 1. For the first case, the marginal rate of technical substitution, MRTS, equals, the first case is here. We're talking about the absolute value. QM2 minus, or 8 minus 16 over 3 minus 1 in the absolute value equals how much? Minus 8 over 2 equals minus 4. The absolute value equals 4. Then 4 minus 8 over 5 minus 3, 2. 2 minus 1, 0.5. And you see, the marginal rate of technical substitution is decreasing. Yeah? I don't know. This depends. But it is decreasing. The normal situation, the marginal rate of technical substitution is decreasing as much as the labor, the number of workers increases. Right? So let's draw the graph that shows the indifference curve, which is the isoquant curve for the producer here. So let's go to the indifference curve for the producer. QM and the QL. تمام؟ M is Y, L is X. بالضبط، وكأنه التشابتر بعيد حاله. The same. أضلك لآخر التشابتر بتحكي عن consumer. تمام؟ حتى وأنا بشرح هتلاقي الأمور شوي بروح على indifference. تمام. Quantity of labor 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, doesn't matter. والله هذا 2 أفضل. Okay, 2, 2, 4. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Quantum machines 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. The first point. No. صح. مظبوط. صح. هذا كيو ام exactly كيو ام صح. هيك تمام. هاي صحيين. احنا بنقول نايمين. جايين الساعة 1. اوكي هذا هيك 12 14 16. تمام. At a QL equals 1. How much is a QM 16? This is point A. At the 3 units, 3 workers, machinery equals 8. 3 and 8. Point B. At 5, 4. C. At 7, 2. At 9, how much? 1. D, E. If we connect these points together, we will reach to the indifference curve for the producer, which is the isoquant curve. IC or the isoquant curve. How much is the quant to produce along this curve? Equals 1,000 units. Which means any combination, any group, any bundle of these factors, production, labor, and machines, lies along this curve will give the producer the same outputs. صح؟ تمام? So the isoquant curve is a graph or a line shows what? The different combinations of labor and machines that give the producer the same output. Right? And they have the same characteristics of the indifference curve, which means the rightward shifting in the isoquant curve means that the producer will get the larger output. The same characteristics of indifference curve اللي خدناهم إنه a rightward shifting in the indifference curve will give the producer the same output, larger output. A movement or full shifting to right, leftward shifting in the isoquant curve means that the producer will get less quantities, less outputs. تمام? And the second characteristic is that the isoquant curve has a negative slope. The same as the indifference curve. Has a downward sloping. It is a downward sloping. تمام? And the marginal rate of substitution is the slope of IC or isoquant curve. أخذنا MRS اللي هو change in quantum Y over change in quantum X. This was the slope of IC in the first curve. And the marginal rate of technical substitution is the slope of the isoquant curve. And the slope is decreasing when we move from left to right side. صح? And we studied also that the indifference curve never touch or never cross, because the cross will create illogical results. مظبوط? So the indifference curves or the isoquant curves will not or never touch, never cross. صح؟ بمعنى ما ينطبق على the indifference curve, it's quite similar to the isoquant curve. تمام؟ then هذا isoquant curve. iso باللاتيني هذا مش كلمة إنجليزية. equals. iso means متساوي. equals هي بسموه equal quant curve. No, it's not. No. مش تبع الجودة هذا، لا، مش الكواليتي هذا. تمام؟ So the main characteristics of the isoquant curve is number one, a movement rightward shifting in the isoquant curve means that the producer will get larger output. A moving or leftward shifting. عشان إلي 7 ساعات في هذا الشغل شوي الواحد. طيب, leftward shifting the isoquant curve means that the producer will get smaller or less quantities and they never cross. And downward sloping. What else? Exactly. Convex to midpoint. Or to the original point here. صح؟ smooth. محدب تجاه نقطة الأصل، لأنه طلعنا عليه هيك ماله convex to the original concave outside. طيب let's go to other shapes of the isoquant curve. ايش مالكم؟ ايه؟ والله شوفي، أنا في الآخر يعني أنا جاي مستنزف بالمناسبة، بس أنا كمان ما عندي استعداد أعطي 6 ساعات محاضرة عشان أنا أخلص منهج، أو 5 ساعات أو 10 ساعات. التوزيعة منيحة، يعني أنا عارف مقدر إنه التوقيت مش مناسب، جايين مستنزفين، أنا كمان مستنزف، لكن يعني ممكن ترجع للفيديو يعني ايزلي انه تستوعب لو انت مش مستوعب الجزئيه هان. بس الحلو انه التشابتر هذا وكانه بعيد التشابتر اللي قبله. تمام، هذا يعني هذا العزاء في الجزئيه هذه يعني ناخذ طيب بس خليني بس اخذ هلا الشيبس اللي اخذناهم انه في بيرفكت سبستيوشن، في ما فيش سبستيوشن ما بين هذا، صح؟ تمام. The general shape of the indifference curve or the isoquant curve is like this here. Convex to the original point. Q equals, let us assume 500 units. Quantity of L and the quantity of M. Keep silent, please. We have different shapes for the indifference curve or the isoquant curve. It might be a straight line, which means there is a perfect substitution between labor and machines. ممكن الماشين تحل محل الليبر، يحل محل الماشينز، أو الماشين كيف لا؟ Maybe, yes. We have an example, coffee vending machine here. The coffee vending machine, harvesting machine. مظبوط. الكافي فندنج ماشين تحت اللي انت في الدرجه كل يوم بتشرب منها شاي وقهوه. لو انا قلت لك روحي اعملي شاي وقهوه والماكينه بتحل محلك، مظبوط؟ تمام. اذا هذا هيك in this example quantum labor and the quantum machines. 4 1 4 2 3 3 and 1. Yeah. Here we have a perfect substitution between labor and machine. تمام? If the isoquant curve, here it's not a budget line, you're talking about isoquant curve, which is a straight line. There's a perfect substitution between labor and machines, like the coffee vending machine. Or wheat harvesting machine. حصادة القمح، مش بتحصد بدل الناس؟ صح؟ طيب. Sometimes we can say or we can see that the isoquant curve is like L. خدنا هذا؟ The same, identical here. Quantum L and the quantum M. One. Here, labor and machines are complements, which means one car needs one driver and two cars needs two drivers, two workers. صح؟ So two or one car doesn't need two drivers. No substitution here. They are complements. تمام؟ طيب. Let's go to something else. نعم؟ Okay. In this case, the marginal rate of technical substitution between labor for machines equals 0. صح؟ مظبوط؟ hand equals 1. 100%. تمام؟ or fixed. And sometimes إنه ممكن يكون 2 or 3 but it's fixed يعني. صح؟ تمام. Depends on the slope because the margin rate of technical substitution is the slope here of iso-quant curve. صح؟ بمعنى لو كان الايزو-quant curve جاي هيك 20 and 10. قديش المارجن ريت of technical substitution؟ QL QM. قديش المارجن rate of technical substitution equals 2 minus 2 الابسوليوت value equals 2. صح؟ تمام؟ بالافتراض في البيرفكت substitution a straight line بزاوية 45 درجة. تمام. Let's go to the budget line but for the producer. Or before that, we have something else. Break? Break for 5 minutes. Let's go to, or come back to the margin rate of technical substitution. As we said that the marginal rate of technical substitution equals the change in the quantity of machines over the change of quantity of labor, number of workers. We have another formula for the marginal rate of technical substitution, which can be derived from the marginal production of labor and marginal production of machines. As you know that the marginal production of labor equals the change in total production over the change in L, or quantity of labor, number of workers. صح؟ تمام. And the marginal production of machines, which means here, how much is the change in total production when the number of workers increases? تمام؟ MPM equals the change in total production over a change in the number of machines. Here, quantity of labor, quantity of machines. Right? So, MPL over MPM equals how much here? We can say that a change in total production over a change in the quantity of labor, MPL, over MPM, had a change in total production over a change in quantity of machines. بيعملوا الضرب. So MPL over MPM equals change in total production of labor, so a change in total production over change in quantity of L times change in quantity of machines over change in total production. صح؟ Change in total production with a change in total production, so marginal production of labor over MPM equals change in quantum machines over the change in quantum labor, which is the marginal rate of technical substitution. Once again, the marginal production labor equals change in total production over the change of quantum labor, or L, right? Marginal production of machines equals change in total production over change in machines, number of machines. اعمل تقسيمة هيك بصير هذا على هذا. اعمل change multiplied by بصير إن هذا هو marginal rate of technical substitution labor for machines. تمام؟ Okay? طيب. مفهوم ولا لا؟ Okay, let's go to something else. نعم. Let's go to the producer budget line. The producer بسموه ISO cost line. خلص نروح على new point. تيجي more? Okay. The producer budget line اسمه the producer ISO cost line. Cost تمام. The ISO cost line. Which equals the budget line for the consumer. هذا equals the budget line for the consumer. But it is for the producer. Producer has, to understand the idea here, let's have the following example. نعم. هذا equals بمعنى I'm talking about the ISO cost line for the producer. It is quite similar to the budget line for the consumer. Just matching. Okay. If a company has $1,000 available to be spent on two factors of production, labor and machines. Two factors of a production, labor and machines. If a company has $1,000 available to be spent on two factors of production, labor and machines, if the price per unit of labor PL equals $20 and price per unit of machines equal $40. Here, L is X, M is Y. Price of X, price of Y. And the total cost is quite similar to the consumer income, which is spent to buy different bundles of goods, right? Now we have the producer, and this producer tends to allocate his total cost to buy labor and machines. If the price of L equals how much? $20, and the price per machine equals 40. Derive the budget line for the producer or the ISO cost line here. And the budget line formula, the ISO cost line formula, and the draw. تمام? Okay, so number one, derive and draw the budget line here or the ISO cost line. And the ISO cost line formula. Then we will assume that the consumer, the producer equilibrium occurs when the budget line tangents the difference curve, or the ISO quant curve tangents the ISO cost line. صح? The same as the consumer. طيب. To draw, yes. Price of labor. أنا بدي أجيب عامل بشغله $20. راتب. تمام. تكلفة العامل وهذا تكلفة الماشين. يعني لو شغلت الماشينري بتكلفني $40 اوكي ممكن per hour اوكي بصير. تمام. أو per unit, per workers, per hour. Okay? But you're talking about the cost of labor. تمام? It might be the working hours a day. Right? بمعنى لو بدي اشغل ماكينه في اليوم بتكلفني fuel 40 تمام والworker working hours day بكلفني $20 تمام. What is the optimal طبعا combination of labor and machine should the producer select؟ هذا اللي راح ندور عليه كمان شوي. So here derive and draw the ISO cost line. عادي وين المشكلة؟ Where's the problem? Sometimes cost of machinery is higher than the cost of workers. It's an assumption here. تمام؟ Okay. To derive the budget line formula or the budget line or the ISO cost line كنا بنقول إنه income equals the price of the quantity of X equals income over the price of X. Here, we can say that the quantity of labor equals the total cost, which is here $1,000, which will be spent or should be spent to buy labor and machines, equals total cost over the price of L, equals $1,000 over price of L, 20, equals 50. 50 workers and 0 machines, which means if the producer tends to allocate his cost, his money, to buy only workers, he can buy 50 workers or recruit. Recruit means يعين. تمام؟ طيب. QM equals total cost over the price of M equals 1,000 over 40 equals 25 machines. So, and 0 from workers. تمام? Let's draw the budget line or the ISO cost line here. Quant of L and quant of M. Quant of M, 25 and 50. 25 and 50. Do you remember the budget line formula? Yeah. QM equals or QY equals, فاكرينه هذا؟ allocation للإنكم. Here, to derive the budget line formula or the ISO cost line formula, total cost equals price of L times QL plus price of M times QM. The same as income equals the price of X times QS plus price of Y times QY. We have to derive QM. تمام؟ بشيء ما اشتغلنا؟ تمام. So QM, price of M QM equals total cost minus PL QL. So over PM. So quantum machines equals total cost over price of M equals or minus price of L over price of M times QL. The same as the budget line formula. The QY equals income over price of Y minus price of X over price of Y. And this is the slope of the budget line, low ISO cost line. تمام? And this is the intercept. This part represents the intercept. Total cost 25. صح? So the budget line here or formula or the ISO cost line formula equals QM equals, كيف بدنا نعملها deriving؟ قول total cost over price of M. Total cost how much? 1000 over price of M. Price of machines 40 minus price of L over price of M 20 over 40 QL. So QM equals how much is it here? 25 اللي هو هذا هاي شايفين؟ minus هذا على هذا. صح؟ The same as the budget line. So QM equals 25 minus هذا على هذا هيك اللي هو 20 على 40 0 half QL. This is the ISO cost line formula, right? Can we derive or determine how many machines should we have if we know the number of workers? Let us assume that the number of workers equals 30 workers. How many machines should we have? This depends on, or it should be calculated by using this formula. So at QL إذا قال لي if the producer equilibrium occurs when QL equals 30, how much is a QM? السؤال اللي بعده, if the producer equilibrium, وين بيصير البروديوسر equilibrium؟ هان لما تفترض انه هنا tangency, when there is a tangency between the ISO cost line and the ISO quant curve. هذا producer equilibrium. Let us assume that the Q equals, the quant to produce equals 5,000 units. إذا قال لي if the نعم لا هو okay if we use 50 or if we use workers only, how many workers should we recruit? إذا بدنا نشتغل على بس عمال كم عامل ممكن يشتري بالألف اللي معاه هذول. بس هو هنا لو أنا بالassumption if the producer equilibrium, the best point achieved when we use 30 workers. It's an assumption. تمام. لا هو بقول لي إنه if the producer equilibrium occurs when the number of workers equals 30 workers. How many machines do we have or should we have here? تمام. بصير إنه QM equals 25 minus half times QL 30. So QM equals 25 minus 15 equals 10. So, in this case, we should buy 10 machines. That's it. What about the slope? If the total cost increased, which means if we have more money, if the total cost increased from 1,000 to 2,000, and the price of M remained constant, the budget line shifts right, parallel to the previous one, صح؟ السؤال بيقول, what will happen if the total cost increases, or we have more money to buy different bundles or more workers and more machines? Which means if the company has more money, or the total cost, the money available for the company increased from $1,000 to $2,000. And ceteris paribus, which means the price of M remain constant. What will happen to the budget line or the ISO cost line? Will shift right, exactly. So here, according to our assumption, is if the company has more money, exactly. ال 30 حطيتها assumption. تمام؟ بالضبط زي البادجت لاين وموضوع الكونسيومر equilibrium. ما في changes، ما في differences. More money, which means that the total cost increased to $2,000 and the price of L remains constant at $20 and the price of M remains constant at $40. It drew the budget line formula, the ISO cost line formula. Sorry, the ISO cost line. It drew the budget line or the ISO cost line. The new, here we are talking about a new ISO cost line. صح؟ إذا راح يصير عندنا the new ISO cost line. كيف بدي أحسبه؟ هي باجي هيك. The new total cost or a new QL new or new QL equals the new total cost over new price of L. QL the new equals 2,000 over the price of L. How much is it? $20 equals how much? 100. And a new QM new equals price total cost new over the new price of M, which equals 2,000 over price of M at 40 equals how much? 50. So here the budget line or the ISO cost line will shift right, parallel to the previous one. So here it should be 50 and here 100. But how much is the slope, the new slope or the new ISO cost line formula? الفورمولا الجديدة تبعتها كيف نحسبها؟ راح نقول هيك QM equals the intercept هذا ال 50 over 50 or minus 50 over 100. صح؟ So 50 minus half QL. This is the new ISO cost line formula. So the change in total cost shifts the budget line or the ISO cost line parallel to the previous one with no change in the slope of the ISO cost line. But the change here وين حدث على وين؟ The location. The change وين صار؟ Just in the location. هيو. The intercept. We have the same slope, but the change in the price of L or change in the price of M will shift or will affect the slope and sometimes the slope and location. Right? The same as the price of X and the price of Y. تمام؟ Okay, let's go to something else. Understood? تمام. طب ده قال لي if the producer equilibrium or the new equilibrium occurs when the number of workers equal 40. How many units of Y or machines do we have? Or هنشتغل على هيك. QM equals 50 minus 0.5 times 40. افترضنا انه the new equilibrium after expansion, because here the company will have an expansion, modernization. We have a new equilibrium point. Here, this is the expansion line here. A movement from point A1 to point A2. This is the expansion path. Right? So, according to our assumption here is that the producer or the equilibrium, the new equilibrium occurs when the number of workers is 40. How many machines should we buy? 30, it's above, yeah. So QM equals 50 minus 20 equals 30 machines. So here we should have 30 machines. تمام? If we connect these points, E1 to E2, this is the expansion path. بمعنى جبنا مصاري وتوسعنا. تمام؟ في البزنس. Okay? طيب. Let's have the following example. في مشكلة؟ ربنا ما يجيب مشاكل. ها مستني. This is the expansion. The expansion path. جايينه هلقيت كمان شوي. بس هذا يعني if we connect these points from E1 to E2 to E3 to E4, this is the expansion path. خط توسع المنشأة. خط التوسع تبع البزنس. تمام؟ Okay. قلنا F. The price of L, price per unit of labor equals $10. And the price of per unit of machines or price per machine equals $15. And we have the following data. Group A, B, C, D. Factors of a production L أقرود يوم مقرود 2 4 6 8 شكلك هتروح بالليل تمنتج ابوه. 12 9 7 6 Will it derive? The ISO coastline derive and draw. Derive and draw. بدنا إياه بس شوي. What is the optimal group, or how many workers and machines? How many workers and machines should the company buy to minimize the cost? Its cost. Determine the equilibrium, the producer equilibrium using graph. It's the quantum L, quantum M. And we have three columns, right? Which one? Producer equilibrium. Using graph. Here we have three columns. In this example, the company tends to buy workers and machines under the following data here. The price per unit of labor and price per unit of machines are given, and we have to select the optimal group that leads to a cost minimization. What is the most minimum cost, or the best group that achieves the cost minimization, right? This is the question here. So we have to calculate the total cost for each group and select the minimum, right? So the total cost, as we know that the total cost equals the price of labor times the quantity of labor plus price of machines times the quantity of machines. صح? So here we have three columns. Price of machines times the quantity of machines. Sorry, price of labor and the quantity of labor times Q labor. Price of M times the QM. And here we have to calculate the total cost here. The price of L is given, which is $10 per unit. صح? Here, at the QL equals 2. How much is the price of L times the QL? Price of L equals $10. مظبوط? Times the QL, 2. 2 times 10, 20. 4 times 10, 40. 6 times 10, 60. 8 times 10, 80. All right? تمام. 4 machines here. The price period of machines equal 15. 15 times 12. عند التسعة. اوكي. بعدين 6 times 15. طيب. The total cost for the first group 20 plus 180, 200. 40 plus 135, 175, 165, 170. What is the group that gives us the minimum cost? Here is C is the best group because we can produce the output with the minimum cost. هيا أنا أرخص واحدة بتكلفني 165 صح؟ So I advise the producer to use how many workers and how many machines? 6 workers and 7 machines. This is the best combination. Right? طيب. Derive and draw the ISO cost line. هيو هيك. QL and the QM. To calculate the quantity of labor, QL equals total cost over the price of labor. Total cost is 165. They had an optimal over the price of L, 10 equals 16.5. When we use labor only, صح? Then to produce, to use workers only, but we have to use 16.5 units. What will we have if we want to use all the machines? QM equals total cost over the price of M equals 165 over price of M 15. How much is it? 11? أنا الضمن عم بطل أعرف 11 من 12 استنى شوي 11 okay. So 11 and 16.5. The consumer equilibrium occurs when we recruit 6 labor and 7 machines. So 6 workers maybe here and 7 machines. So this is the equilibrium quantity produced. Let us assume it's an assumption 500 units. This is the equilibrium point here. تمام؟ يعطيكم العافية.